I gave your dead ex-husband's insurance money as a housewarming gift to my eldest son's wife. What's yours is mine, so no complaints, right? You want divorce. Understood. It seemed my husband was a bit surprised, thinking I would cry and refuse the divorce. Don't think everything will go your way. Just you wait and see. My name is Tiffany. Actually, Brad is my second husband. My first husband passed away due to illness. My first husband had an illness that he had suffered from since he was young, which worsened and he passed away. Worried about me being left alone, he left a considerable amount of insurance money. We had no children together. I met Brad through a relative's introduction. It was an arranged meeting, and I almost declined because I wasn't a first-time bride. But he said, "Don't worry about that." I was happy he seemed to accept not just me but also my deceased first husband. Since remarrying Brad, I've been a full-time housewife due to my weak health and his high earnings. I gave birth to our daughter, Stacy, and our son, Justin. And I've been doing my best with housework and childcare. Brad often brought work stress home, behaving selfishly and sometimes shouting unexpectedly. Despite his calling me names like parasite and a waste of space when in a bad mood. I am grateful to him for a financially comfortable life. Brad's family put importance on their firstborn son. Stacy and Justin were treated differently in every possible way, including birthday gifts, Christmas gifts, and school entrance gifts. During long holidays like summer break, Justin would be taken to Brad's family home and not returned for days. There, Justin indulged in sweets and games, disrupting his routine and study habits. It was always tough readjusting Justin back to our regular life when he returned, often rebellious and condescending. Despite my pleas for this to stop, thinking it wasn't good for Justin, Brad would retort, "I married a woman with a blemished family registry. And a wife shouldn't talk back." Stacy disliked Brad and his family and left home early. She married about 5 years ago and is now struggling with childcare. Justin married a young and beautiful woman 2 years ago. I often had issues with his wife, Valerie's, attitude, but we didn't meet often. And I thought maybe it's just how young people are these days, so I didn't interfere much. This happened about 2 years ago, when Justin and Valerie came over for dinner to celebrate their marriage. As soon as Valerie arrived, she said, "Wow, what a lovely house. Justin, you grew up here? How envious. Brad, you must be very capable to have such a home." No, my wife is useless and can't work, so I had to work hard all alone. But well, the house is getting a bit old, just like my wife. Old houses and women, not good, right? Women need to be young and cute like you, Valerie. Valerie, you're working, right? That's great. In this era, capable women must work and live in society, unlike my useless wife. Brad doted on Valerie, who was beautiful and well-groomed, and excessively insulted me. Our home might be old, but it's well-organized and clean. Valerie seemed to think it's okay to look down on me just because I'm older. She even directed that disdainful gaze at Stacy. "Sister, you're just like your mother. You should take better care of your nails and wear some jewelry. Have you given up because you have kids? That's no excuse. Justin, don't worry. Even after we're married, I won't become like your sister." Of course, Valerie. You're nothing like my mom or sister. I wonder if they're even the same species as you. Valerie mounts a misguided attack on Stacy, who struggles to raise her child every day. But neither Brad nor Justin seem to notice her antics at all. After Justin and Valerie left the dinner party, Stacy said in an exasperated voice, "What was that about?" I hate to say it, but I don't want to get involved. In response, Brad dismissively said, "Are you perhaps angry because she hit the nail on the head?" Women's jealousy is so ugly. Stacy, with a look of deep dislike, replied, Dad, you need to look at things more calmly, or you might lose your way. Don't talk back to me like that, Stacy. You're always so cheeky. Just go home, go home. Brad, upset, secluded himself in his room. Mom, if you have any troubles or concerns, please consult with me immediately. I'm worried about you. Stacy left after saying that. One day, I was having tea at a nearby cafe, invited by Stacy. Since that incident, Stacy seemed to invite me out more often, maybe to check if I was okay. Mom, now that you're free from raising kids, why not find a hobby or something enjoyable? Remember how you used to love gardening? Are you still doing it? I'm still gardening at home, yes. Maybe I should study different types of flowers and planting methods, now that I have the time. These days, people post lots of gardening images on social media. It's fun and inspiring just to look. Here, let me borrow your smartphone, I'll install the app for you. Saying that, she installed a social media app on my phone. Indeed, there were many beautiful gardening images that were quite educational. I was impressed by how young people are using such convenient and enjoyable tools. From that day, I started browsing various posts whenever I had time. I could even search for information on local botanical gardens and cafes. One day, a particular post caught my eye. It was about a new Italian restaurant in our neighborhood, a place I had wanted to visit. Brad always limited my dining out, saying, "Don't waste the money I earn." The post showed a couple, presumably on a date, dining together. Their faces weren't shown, but glimpses of their hands, a luxury brand bag, and car keys were visible. However, the bag and the style of the nails looked similar to Valerie's. And the man's hand didn't seem like Justin's. I was a bit bothered by this, but since it was just a post on social media with no proof, I felt uneasy but couldn't do anything. When I mentioned it to Stacy, she said, "Understood. I'll look into it a bit." Recently, Justin and Valerie came to report that they were building a new house. Valerie had incorporated many of her desires into the stylish design. Justin cheerfully said, Valerie kept adding options, and the initial estimate shot up. She insisted on using a top-tier home builder. But how can I refuse anything she asks for? Well, I wanted a house nicer than this one. It's okay, right? When a cute wife like Valerie asks, Justin has no choice but to listen, right? I wish Valerie would ask me for anything too. Really? What should I ask for then? Ignoring my presence, the three of them laughed and chatted excitedly, while thinking that an extravagant mortgage might lead to future troubles. I planned to give them some cash as a housewarming gift. However, when I checked my bank balance, I found that the $300,000 insurance money left by my late first husband was gone. I confronted Brad immediately. The $300,000 insurance money from my late husband in my bank account is missing. What did you do with them? Where are they? Brad then said, That money? I'm giving it to Valerie as a housewarming gift. You've lived comfortably thanks to me, so that money is mine, right? If you have a problem, we can divorce." Saying that, he flaunted a divorce paper signed only by him in front of me. That money was a precious legacy left by my late husband. I never intended to use it all for myself. It was meant to eventually rebuild this old house into a small bungalow for Brad and me to spend our old age. Justin and Valerie were smirking and looking at us. Right? I mean, you're a remarried mother, aren't you? You should be more grateful to your husband. Did your former husband die of illness? That's so sad. But money can't be used by the dead, can it? We'll make sure to use it properly for you. I took you in, a woman with a blemished family registry. I expect some gratitude. Besides, the dead guy from ages ago has nothing to do with us. Wouldn't your cute Valerie using the money be more pleasing to your ex than you using it? I felt my emotions cooling towards Brad, who smirked at his own words. I had endured his domineering attitude and condescension because I believed he accepted me and my late first husband, despite not being a first-time bride. You told me not to worry about not being a first-time bride when we got married. Was that a lie? Huh? I only said that because I thought you would be more willing to work in my favor if you were feeling a bit of a drawback. And you were. My mother was harsh on you for that reason, but I don't care about such things. I was a fool. I seem to have completely misunderstood. I turned to Justin as a last resort. I've tried to show you love in my own way. Do you understand my sadness? What do you think? I can't understand your feelings, Mom. All I need is Valerie and money. You'll give us money, right? As a parent, you should do anything for my happiness. Fulfill your responsibility. This was a shock. My sense of guilt overwhelmed me for raising Justin this way. But I decided then to protect myself. Understood. Then let's divorce. Thank you for everything until now. I spoke in a surprisingly calm and low voice. Brad seemed a bit surprised, expecting me to cry and cling to him. But quickly wore a pitying expression. Are you sure? Think it over. As he tossed the divorce papers to me. Justin and Valerie were smirking. They looked like aliens to me. How much more could they look down on people? While packing my belongings quickly, I was planning for the future. Upon leaving the house, I immediately submitted the completed divorce papers to the city hall. I was no longer married. I rented an apartment a bit away from where Stacy and her family lived. I had refrained from pursuing them too intensely because I had a plan. One day, I received a call from Justin that Brad had been arrested for theft. It was only natural that my ex-husband, who was already a stranger to me, would be suspicious of my attempt to withdraw a sum of $300,000 from a bank book in my name at a bank. Brad was insisting at the police station. I supported Tiffany for years, so her things are mine. What's wrong with me withdrawing this money? But such an argument was obviously futile. I had thought Brad was a calm and competent person, despite his personality. Realizing how warped his thinking was, I felt embarrassed to have spent years with such a man. Justin seems to think that if I ask the police to reduce Brad's charges, his sentence will be reduced. But what makes him think I will cooperate to reduce Brad's charges? We're divorced now, and it has nothing to do with me. Don't contact me again, I said and hung up. Later investigations revealed that Brad had been embezzling company funds, leading to his dismissal. This was unexpected. What could be the reason for committing such crimes for money? I felt there might be more facts hidden from me. Around the time of Brad's arrest, Stacy contacted me. She had been investigating the SNS account I had previously been concerned about. The ones I had seen before had been posted in a way that took care not to show their faces. But as I looked through some of the posts, there were a few that could easily be seen in a mirror or easily identified where they lived. It was indeed Valerie. I am appalled at how little risk management skills she has, selling out her own personal information in order to get a lot of likes. In addition, she seemed to have personal relationships with several men. And some posts suggested that she was having an affair. I confronted Justin with this evidence, provided by Stacy. Justin was furious and confronted Valerie, who definitely said, "If you have a problem, we can divorce, right?" Despite his feelings, Justin couldn't bring himself to divorce her. However, some of Valerie's affairs were with married men, or those in significant professional positions, causing complicated negotiations and procedures. Valerie had received a severe warning from her workplace for slander on social media, leading to her resignation. It's a behavior that is typical of Valerie, who has an unusually high level of pride. Well, that, too, is no longer my concern. A few months later, Brad called me. I didn't want to answer and ignored it a few times, but he kept calling, so I finally picked up. Do you know how many times I've called? Okay, whatever, my house is a mess. Nobody does any housework. It's like a garbage dump. You, come back and clean it up. Huh? Who are you? What? Oh, Brad? Your voice sounded so old, I didn't recognize it. What do you want? I'm telling you to come and clean our house. Are you deaf? Why should I, a stranger now, come and clean your house? What's with that arrogant tone? We were married once. So you have a responsibility for the house I live in. I have no such responsibility. Why don't you do it yourself? Housework is simple, anyone can do it, right? I couldn't help but recall what I had been told in the past. A man doing housework? Never. I've always said housework is a woman's job. You're so stupid. Why don't you ask your beloved Valerie to do it? Isn't she currently an unemployed parasite and a waste of space? Again, I recalled what I had been told in the past. I can't ask Valerie to do such things. It was clear Brad feared asking Valerie to do housework and possibly upsetting her. Listen. We are divorced, which means we are no longer husband and wife. I have no obligation or responsibility to clean your house. Do you understand? If you contact me again, I will consult with a lawyer. What will you do? With that, Brad hastily ended the call. A few days later, he called again. Hey, I'm sorry. Please come back. I'm in trouble without money. Wait. I'll remarry you. That should settle it, right? Then you have a responsibility to take care of me. Come on, come and do the housework and cook for me. Why do you think I would happily reconcile with you and take care of you? I refuse. Absolutely not. If you keep bothering me, I will call the Pollock. The call ended abruptly. I hoped it was the last time. Brad had been trying to please Valerie by giving her gifts, like bags, earrings, accessories, and even paying a down payment for a luxury car. He embezzled company money for this purpose. Valerie was well aware of Brad's intentions and fully exploited him. Even after Valerie's true nature was exposed, both Brad and Justin couldn't seem to leave her. Stacy once said to me, Valerie seems like a community crasher. A community crasher destroys relationships within communities such as companies, university clubs, mom groups, or neighborhood associations. They are often aggressively critical and have distorted needs for recognition. Whether Valerie was truly a community crasher, I wasn't sure, but it seemed close. However, there was nothing I could do but to live my life without involving myself with them anymore. Now, they're known in the neighborhood as the infamous family living in a garbage house, constantly arguing. And since the hoarding house reflects Valerie's extravagant taste, the monthly loan is apparently quite expensive. It's rumored they're falling behind on payments and might soon lose their home. I'm now living peacefully in an apartment near Stacy's family. My gardening skills have improved thanks to the knowledge gained from social media. I sometimes work part-time in gardening at local parks or botanical gardens and volunteer as well. I enjoy spending time with my grandchildren and having meals with Stacy's family. Stacy's husband is kind to me, and I'm very grateful. Looking back, it seems my late first husband may have revealed Brad and Valerie's true colors. This experience has made me reflect on how I've always felt inferior and never took action. I've inflicted emotional wounds on myself and especially on Stacy. I regret how much Stacy must have suffered as a child, and I feel sorry for Justin as well. From now on, I plan to think for myself and interact with those who cherish me and whom I cherish. It's never too late to start. My life is just beginning.